But now I now look to Liam Hackett to continue the case for the opposition.
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me here this evening to talk about something that I'm really passionate about. Now, before I go into my points of why I'm such a huge advocate of social media, it's worth me just giving you a bit of background on me and my story and how I got into the world of social. So here I am, aged 15. I'd been bullied for 10 years at school. I didn't really have any mates. I'd been hospitalized, had no social skills whatsoever, but I had a computer. And I turned to MySpace. I feel really old talking about MySpace right now. Hopefully some of you remember it. But I turned to MySpace and I posted this bulletin. And in this bulletin, I said, hey, look, I'm being bullied. And I talked a bit about my experience. And literally overnight, I had hundreds of people reach out to me. People were telling me about their own experiences of being bullied. People were giving me advice. And some people were even asking me for advice. And so here I am, this 15-year-old kid, very nervous, no confidence on the internet, and suddenly I'm talking about an issue of bullying. And I realized quite early on that this was far greater than I was, and it was something that affected so many people. And so this community of practice started to organically grow as young people started to come together, many of which had never met anybody before. People from across the world were coming together to give and share advice and to talk about the real-life issues that they were having. And that was the infancy of Ditch the Label, which today is one of the largest anti-bullying charities in the world. Now, to put that into perspective, in the next 12 months, we're forecasted to help 1.5 million young people to overcome bullying and related issues. And that leads me on nicely to my first point, the fact that social media is such a powerful tool for anybody who is considered vulnerable in our society. Now, think about this for a moment. We've got a 14-year-old kid who's grown up in a small town. In this town, they're the only black person, or the only person in a wheelchair, or the only gay person. 30 years ago, they had nobody who was similar to them to talk to. For example, when I came out as gay, I already had friends on the internet who were gay, who could give me advice and support. I didn't have that offline. And social media enables anybody who is considered vulnerable, who's being bullied or going through a difficult time, to instantly connect with people who are either going through that at that time or have been through it, to give and share advice. And that should never be overlooked. It is so powerful. Social media enables us to construct new friendships. Most of us in here will have friends who we've met on Twitter or Facebook before real-life situations. In fact, so many of my friends, my colleagues, my partners have been met through social media. Ditch the Label is an organization that has grown online. We help people through social media. We help them through games and through our website. We've grown our organization into an international organization, an international movement through the power of social media, which leads me on to my next point about the fact that social media significantly increases social mobility. Now, we've talked about the Women's March this evening and how millions of people internationally were engaging in that. This was a community that was built through social media, but there's so many other cases that we can relate to. Think about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. That raised millions of pounds for charity. It created huge awareness for such an important cause, and that was all through social media. Now, there's smaller examples. There's two mums in Essex right now who are campaigning for the Oxford Dictionary to redefine their prejudicative view of an Essex girl. Now, offline, they're not particularly influential, but what they have is a message that resonates with other people. They've got 10,000 signatories on this online petition. And what is so great about this is we're now seeing young people and everybody can become an activist. The historic socioeconomic barriers to entry no longer exist. Young people are now affecting change in their schools, in their communities, in their countries, and even in the world. And I think as well, when we're talking about the internet as a tool for social capital, social media enables people to come together to share ideas, to share a new vision for the world. You can talk to pretty much anybody on social media, whether they're your colleagues, world leaders, celebrities, activists. It is so, so important. And I think as well, many of us in this room will have moved away for university. Some will have taken a gap year. We've all pretty much been on holiday. People move away, parents move away, friends move away. It's a fact of life. And when many of you graduate, you will move abroad and work somewhere else. And I think what is so important is the fact that social media enables us to maintain relationships that we have in our lives. 20 years ago, it was very rare that you would stay in contact with people that you went to school or college or university with. Now social media enables you to do that, and sometimes those interactions are passive, but that's okay. It was my birthday last week, and I had a birthday party, and I had 40 friends who came to this cocktail party, and some of them I hadn't seen in 6 to 12 months because, you know, when you're a professional, you're trying to manage your work-life balance. You just don't have the time. But we've been able to maintain those friendships and those relationships through the power of social media. And that's something that I think we can all relate to in here. But I think ultimately, when we look at relationships, regardless as to whether or not they're online or offline, they're tough. It is a case of give and take. People have fallouts, people break up, people backstab. It is the fact of human nature. And I don't think social media corrupts human interactions. I think the humans who are engaging in those interactions corrupt it. I think actually social media is such a powerful tool that has revolutionized relationships. It's revolutionized the world. It's given people who otherwise wouldn't have a platform, vulnerable people, a platform. It's enabled people to access support that they wouldn't otherwise get. For example, we know that half of young people who experience bullying don't tell anybody because they're scared, they're embarrassed, they have a lack of faith in support systems. What we found at Digital Label is overwhelmingly young people are far more likely to access and gain support online. That is so, so important. Everybody deserves to feel part of a community, regardless of what their demographic is. And social media breaks down those socioeconomic and the geographic barriers to entry. And I hugely support social media. And I think it's a very powerful thing. Thank you.